Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's Wally, and today we're going to be discussing the Nintendo Direct. Because honestly, I was planning on doing like a full reaction to the entire Nintendo Direct, but looking back at the video, I was a little bitter. I mean, honestly, you would have thought that Nintendo was saying that they were only going to do NFTs instead of doing video games from now on. Like, it was that bad. I was that upset. But now that I've had a little time to reflect on it and talk to some other people about things, it wasn't really that bad. I mean, don't get me wrong. Was I happy with how it went? Absolutely not. I probably would have given it probably a 4 or 5 out of 10. But it definitely wasn't as bad as I was kind of like portraying it to be in the beginning, you know? My biggest problem with the entire Nintendo Direct was the fact that they omitted a lot of things that I was kind of looking forward to. Truly, I was looking forward to like the announcement for Super Mario Sluggers, because we all need a new Mario baseball game. I was looking forward to maybe an announcement of a brand new Mario Kart, but I think most of all, the thing that I was most looking forward to that just didn't happen was an announcement for Breath of the Wild 2. Because some of you guys know, I do stream over on Twitch, twitch.tv/WallyTheBandit, if you guys want to come check out sometime. But currently on stream, I'm doing a 100% playthrough of Breath of the Wild 1. My whole thought process behind it was, by the time I got done with Breath of the Wild 1 and doing the 100%, Breath of the Wild 2 would have come out and we could do a smooth transition. Unfortunately, right now we're still left in the dark. We don't have a release date, we don't have an additional trailer, or anything like that. However, the announcement of a couple new games coming to the platform really kind of saved the day. So the fact that they announced Splatoon 3, Super Mario Strikers, and I'm not going to spoil it in case you haven't seen it, but there's a certain other sports game that's coming out that's kind of a remake, but kind of not, that I'll be discussing a little bit later, because that was the most exciting part of it for me. But even some of the remastered games that they're announcing, or things that they're bringing to the Switch, are really, really cool. Like, for instance, they were bringing Portal 1 and Portal 2 to the Switch. Like, come on, dude, that game is so incredible. I used to play that all the time on the Xbox, and now that I get to bring it over to the Switch, dude, I get to play it all over again. I mean, it's not going to be any different from the normal Portal 1 and Portal 2 games, but it's still going to be another playthrough, and that's going to be a lot of fun. But despite, all those great things that they kind of introduced, the new games and the remastered games, dude, there were still a lot of L's in there. So we'll talk about the L's first before we go into the W's, because, dude, we got to end with all the wins, because there were a lot of good little nuggets in there, too. But first, we do kind of have to talk about the L's. I think the biggest, bittersweet moment in that entire Nintendo Direct was the whole Mario Kart thing. And I know I kind of touched on it, saying that I wish that they would have announced a brand new Mario Kart game. Because really, it's been 5 years, I think? I think it came out in, 2017. 2016, 2017. I had 2017, something like that. So it's been 5 years. You would think by now that maybe they would release a new Mario Kart or something like that. But we did at least get an announcement, and it turns out that we're getting new maps for Mario Kart 8. Awesome. Really, really cool. But wait, hey, you don't have the Nintendo Online, the expansion pass? Oh, well, that's going to be $25 for 48 courses. 48 maps. Courses, maps, same thing. It doesn't matter. Either way, they're remastered maps. Here's the thing. I have no problem charging for a DLC for brand new content. And don't get me wrong, I love, from the Mario Kart Wii, what was it, Coconut Mall? I love that course. That was one of my favorites, and we would always play that all the time. Don't get me wrong. But for that to be a remastered one, really, you're not adding anything to it. Maybe you'll change, some of the direction things, or maybe how long or short certain little, straightaways could be, or something like that. But it's still going to be the same thing. You're not developing something new, and you're charging us for recycled content. That's the downside. In addition, it's not like we got any new characters either. I mean, it's possible that down the line that they might, announce some new characters, but we didn't. We got 48 new maps. And not just that, we got 48 new maps over 6 waves. So we're not getting all the maps at the same time. We're getting 8 at a time. So we're getting wave 1 and then through 6, which is cool. That's awesome, because it kind of keeps it a little more fresh. If you get all of the maps in one day, it's possible you could sit down and play with your friends for a day or two and finish all the maps. So the fact that it gets spread out over 6 waves, that's a good thing. But for $25, and that's the thing too, is when I was talking about it on stream, a lot of people were like, look, you know what, I already pay for the Nintendo Online and for the expansion pass and everything, so really I'm kind of getting it for free. But you're not. You're not. It's still, you're paying for the year. It is expensive. Like, I understand you're getting something for free because you're paying for the expansion pass and everything, but it's not quite the same, you know what I mean? So, don't get me wrong, is it cool that they added new maps and everything and there's going to be an update to a game that's been around for 5 years? Absolutely. I'm excited about that, but the fact that it's not a new game, these are all recycled maps, there are no new characters, and it's $25 for people that don't have, like, Nintendo Online, that's a big issue for me. That's why it's bittersweet. Also, we want to talk about bittersweet? How about we talk about MLB The Show? Now, as some of you guys know, like, I'm a big baseball fan. I love baseball. I played baseball throughout college and everything like that. So, like, I have a close attachment to baseball. Always going to be a Chicago White Sox fan. Always going to be a baseball fan. But I don't know about bringing it to the Switch. Honestly, because I've seen Nintendo do this before. I remember back in, like, 08, 09, I think it was 09, or it was 08. Either way, Brett Favre was on the cover. That's all I remember. But they had brought Madden to the Wii for the first time. Obviously, it was always an Xbox, PlayStation thing. You could get it on both consoles, but never on a Nintendo one. But this was the first year, and I was so excited, because at the time, I didn't have an Xbox or a PlayStation. It was just the Wii. And I'm like, shoot, I finally get to play another sports game again, like a real sports game. This is cool. And then I go in, and what is it? It's honestly like playing on a PC back in the mid-90s. It was horrible. The graphics, it's like going from like on Xbox and PlayStation, you're going from like those graphics, and then going to the Switch, to the Wii, it's like going back to Super Nintendo. It's bad. It's like playing that old Namco like football game on the regular Nintendo. It was that bad. So that is my worry here. Like, I love the fact that bringing baseball to the Switch, especially MLB The Show, bringing that to the Switch, it's going to bring more people to the game. But I don't know if like the Switch is the right platform to play the show on. You know what I mean? I don't know if it has the like capability of doing something or playing a game that has like those type of graphics. Like, I don't quite see it. And especially even looking at the preview on the Nintendo Direct, like, it looked good. It looked a whole hell of a lot better than the Madden 09. Don't get me wrong. But it still wasn't to the level that I saw on the Xbox or that my friends see on the PlayStation. So that was just a little disappointing. Like, I think it's really cool that they're going to bring MLB The Show to the Switch. Because, again, you're getting a bigger audience there, and you get more people to play and more people to get excited about baseball. But I'm a little worried about the graphics. I just hope the Switch doesn't ruin baseball like Manfred did. And just in case you don't know, because I know some of you aren't in America and don't know, like, the Major League Baseball and all that kind of stuff. Right now, MLB is in a lockout because the owners and the commissioner, Manfred, are kind of shutting the players out and not really negotiating the way that they're supposed to. So that's why I needed to say that hopefully the Switch is not going to ruin it like Manfred did. Just as a little background, just so you know the lore behind Manfred. But I think the biggest W when it comes to MLB The Show, which is where the kind of bittersweet comes in, or where the sweet to the bittersweet comes in, two things. Number one, again, baseball on the Switch. But number two, the fact that Shohei Ohtani is on the cover. And granted, I know this isn't a Switch thing or a Nintendo thing. It's basically San Diego Studios who created, or who is, I guess, the developer of MLB The Show right now. I know they're the ones that made the decision, but the fact that Shohei Ohtani is on the cover is a really, really cool thing. One of the top 5 baseball players in the league right now, a two-way player, just absolutely, like, incredible. Someone to look up to for, like, the little baseball players and all that who are growing up and trying to learn baseball and all that. That is a guy to definitely watch. So I'm really happy that he's on the cover and he's being represented here. That's definitely the sweet here. Other else that we can talk about, I know I kind of touch on this with the MLB The Show, but, like, the graphics of a lot of the games. And, like, don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people are going to jump down my throat for this one, but, like, and I get it. Nintendo, their niche is not like, hey, high graphics like it's the Xbox or the PlayStation or anything like that. I get that, but you gotta do something better than that. Like, for instance, the, what's the name of that game? The Live Alive? Something like that. Either way, the fact that that was a game back in the day that was only released in Japan, the fact that they're bringing it worldwide right now is so cool. I think that is a really, really great idea. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to it. I get that. And the fact that it's 8 games in one, really, really cool. However, it legitimately looks like you took the characters from the game in regular or Super Nintendo and you just dropped them into, like, the game engine of a Switch game. So it's like, okay, let me put it this way. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Great movie, by the way. But in the movie, like, you have the normal people, normal humans just walking around and all that. But then in the normal world, you occasionally have Roger Rabbit, who's there, who's animated in it. And, like, so, like, you just have an animated thing in, like, a real world setting. Something, it just doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense. It's a great movie, don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't fit. And that's what it is with this game, and what you see with a lot of the Nintendo games too. And again, I get it. Graphics aren't the number one driver for Nintendo games. It's about the content and all that, and not about the graphics, unless we're talking about Breath of the Wild. But still, just make it look a little bit better. It's kind of like what they did with Metroid. It's kind of the same type of game. It's kind of 2D-ish, even though it is 3D. But you didn't, you upgraded the graphics. It doesn't look like it's a Super Nintendo game anymore. It legitimately looks like it was built for the Switch. So I really wish that they would have improved that on a lot of the games. But really, again, I'm kind of nitpicking here a little bit with that. But still, that's something that I wish I would have seen in some of the new games. I know I've already touched on this too, but I think the biggest loss of the day is no Breath of the Wild 2 release. Or comment on anything with a release. Like, are you kidding me? This is, like, okay, you just came out with 2 new Pokemon games. You came out with Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and you came out with Legends Arceus. That's awesome. What is your next big title? I mean, like, if you weren't going to release, like, a new Super Mario Brothers, you go with Zelda. That is your bread and butter. People are so excited about it, too. I'm excited about it. I've been talking about it a ton in stream. A lot of people have been asking about it in stream, too. And I've seen people, putting it on Twitter, some people on Instagram and stuff like that, talking about it, and how badly they want some information on it. But Zelda is your flagship game now. Like, right now. I'm sorry. I know Super Mario kind of is, but right now, in my mind, Zelda is the flagship game. That's something you had to make some kind of mention on. And the fact that you totally neglected it, I know is going to get people more excited for Nintendo Direct down the line for the next one, where hopefully we're going to get some kind of announcement. But, dude, you got some people's, like, hopes up, and then you just slash through them like Nintendo always does. It's terrible. But it's just sad. It is. I almost cried when, like, at the end, the Xenoblade Chronicles, or Xenoblade, I totally thought that was going to be just some kind of announcement for Breath of the Wild 2, but no. I was super disappointed. But now we can work our way to the wins, because there were a few of them in there. Like, there were, again, like I said, there were a few little nuggets in there that were really cool. Like, for instance, the, like, extended trailer for Kirby. Like, again, I've always loved Kirby. Like, I played it, back on, like, what was it, the Game Boy. There were a couple, like, Super Nintendo games with Kirby as well. Those are really cool. But, it hasn't really been my... When I say bread and butter, I just mean, like, a game that I know I'm going to get all the time. Like, I know Nintendo's going to make money on me on that game. Kirby isn't one of them. Pokemon, Zelda, like, those are the games that I'm kind of talking about. But I think this one looks really cool, and I think that this could be, like, a more fun game. Like, again, not one that I would typically play, but the trailer for it and the new things that they're kind of introducing look like a lot of fun. I mean, the fact of the matter is, instead of, like, swallowing up, like, a bad guy and getting their, like, mimicking all of their powers and everything, now you can actually breathe in things like a car, a vending machine, and use that, like, on your quest to, like, saving all of the whatever you call them. As you can tell, I haven't played Kirby in a while, so of course I don't remember the name of, the little good guys that you're supposed to save. But either way, the fact that you can actually swallow things and become them and use them like that, That is so cool. I mean, the vending machine being able to spit cans at things, like, that's a cool little thing. Again, like, I was really excited about this because I didn't have high expectations for Kirby. But the fact that it looks like it's going to be a really, really fun game really made me happy. I know a lot of people who are really looking forward to Kirby, and I hope that this was something that made them as happy as it made me. I mean, aside from Kirby, there were a few other wins from the day. Like, for instance, like, well, I guess maybe not a re-release, but a release of, like, a remastered Kingdom Hearts. And I know these are, like, the Cloud Edition, which is really, really cool. I have a lot of good friends, especially ones that stream as well, who play a lot of Kingdom Hearts. And I think this is one that's really going to excite them, too. And especially since you got, 3 of them in the same game that are being released. That's definitely going to keep them busy, for sure. So I think that's really cool. Again, the addition of Mario Strikers, I think that is a huge addition. I think without that, again, I was really hoping for a Sluggers as opposed to Strikers. But the fact that we're getting a Mario sports game again, even though we just got Golf last year, but the fact that they're kind of continuing with the sports is a really, really cool thing. And that makes me really happy too. Because I am a big sports guy, and the fact that you get to incorporate Nintendo's like Mario stuff in with the sports, it's a really cool thing, and it's really exciting for me. Also, I know that the announcement for Splatoon 3 really excites people too. I've actually had some people say that it's a game that they think I would have fun with. Again, it's a game that I haven't played before, but after watching this little announcement for it, it looks pretty cool. It might be one that I might have to, just get and maybe try a couple times on stream. And maybe if I have people to play with too, that would be an extra fun thing to do too. But the biggest win from Nintendo Direct, I know I kind of talked about it in the beginning, but I didn't want to give too much away just in case you haven't seen it yet. But the one that definitely made me most excited, Nintendo Switch Sports. That's right! It is a remake of Wii Sports-ish, but they're making it for the Nintendo Switch. The good thing about it, it's another Wii Sports. That's awesome! Wii Sports was so much fun. And even like Wii Sports Resort, like that was a cool game too. That was a lot of fun. So the fact that they're finally bringing it to the Switch, like 5-6 years too late, but the fact that they're bringing it to the Switch is a really, really cool thing. And the updated, graphics, the online capabilities and everything like that, the things that they're adding to it are really cool. And I think it's going to make it a really, really great game for everyone. Shoot, for me, for you, for anyone that has, used to play Wii Sports all the time to the person who never even heard of Wii Sports. I think everyone's going to have a good time with this game. The one downside to it, though, is the fact that they didn't include boxing, and unfortunately, they didn't include baseball, which I think was the biggest omission for me, unfortunately. However, they did add a couple new sports, such as, I know they added volleyball, badminton's on there, although that might have been on Wii Sports Resort, maybe? Or I could just be wrong. But that, and then the most important one, I think, is soccer. Why? Not because they're coming out with strikers, not because soccer is the greatest sport out there, and I'm sorry if you think it is. I'm not saying that it's horrible. It's a great sport. I love sports in general. But it's the fact that they came out with that harness for your thigh that you can put your Joy-Con in, and you can kick as if you're actually playing soccer. I know that is a very juvenile thing to be excited about, but it really did excite me. Honestly, I think my neighbors had to come over and knock on the door to make sure I was okay because I was screaming with excitement. It was ridiculous. But I think it's going to be a really, really cool game. The addition of extra sports is really, really great. And the fact that they're going to be introducing golf later in the year, I think it's in the fall, they're going to be introducing golf as another sport in the game. I think that kind of opens the door for a potential for adding other sports down the line too. So maybe they could add boxing, maybe they could add baseball, maybe they could add table tennis like they did in Wii Sports Resort. Either way, there are a lot of options with it, especially with DLC content. Well, even though I guess that's downloadable content, but you know what I mean. The DLC stuff, I think the addition of that and the fact that we're getting golf is really going to be a big selling point for this game because that means that they can add so many other things down the line. But most exciting about the game, dude, it comes out April 29th. Are you kidding me? That's less than 3 months away. That's 2.5 months away. I just started playing Legends Arceus. I just started playing I guess Halo again. I just started playing Breath of the Wild again. And now you're coming out with Nintendo Switch Sports. Yeah, I almost called it Wii Sports. And I'm probably going to make that mistake plenty of times down the line. But Nintendo Switch Sports. You can't tell me that's not exciting. Like, honestly, if you are not excited, you never played the Wii. You never played Wii Sports. This is going to be so cool. And the fact that the online capabilities are going to be so much greater than they were with the Wii. I mean, granted, it's Nintendo Online. They're still going to have issues. It's Nintendo. Somehow they still haven't figured out the online process. But either way, it's going to be a whole hell of a lot better than the Wii. And the fact that you're going to be able to connect with multiple friends at the same time, dude, how can you not be excited about that? I mean, if anything, I kind of feel bad for my friends because now I'm going to have to embarrass them on stream when we're playing bowling. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that. I think that's going to come back to bite me in the ass. But either way, I think it's going to be a really fun time. Overall, I think this was a pretty average Nintendo Direct. I mean, I've definitely seen worse ones, but I've definitely seen a lot better ones too. I mean, there were a lot of things, again, that they kind of omitted from this Nintendo Direct. Especially a lot of things that were really exciting for me, like the Breath of the Wild 2 and a potential Super Mario Sluggers, again, for the Switch. But overall, there were some pretty good things in there, too. Again, the Mario Kart, the Nintendo Switch Sports, like, there were some pretty good things in there. And so, even though there were some disappointing things, you know, you have to take the bad with the good. There were a lot of great things in there, too. And I'm super excited for the path that Nintendo's going down. Well, at least for, you know, the stuff that they were able to show. Of course, yeah, I kind of need to see some of the other games that I'm excited about to kind of be more excited about the way Nintendo's going, but, you know, that's Nintendo for you. Leave it up to Nintendo to give you, like, just leave you, like, extremely disappointed, but give you just that little bit to kind of keep bringing you back around. I mean, Nintendo's still going to take hundreds of more dollars of my money over the next 5-10 years, but it's kind of worth it. I don't know how they keep getting me to come back, but it still happens. Either way, I'm just kind of hoping that they give us some like really good updates down the line at the next Nintendo Direct. I know last year they kind of had two around the same time-ish, or at least in the same year. So I'm kind of hoping that they have another one soon, just to kind of give us those updates on the things that they didn't update us on already. Again, leave it up to Nintendo. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure to drop a like. I'll do some more on Nintendo Directs down the line. And of course, any other like trailers or anything that kind of come out for anything Pokemon or Zelda or anything like that. So at least you know to come here and I'll give you as much information as possible. But thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time.